Okay guys, I am figuring out how to make a video, so please be patient with me. These are some of the things that I've made over the last couple of days, and we're going to work on making one now. So I've already cut out my stencils and I put my transfer tape on each one. And all the materials that I use, the transfer tape, my stencil film, I'm going to put links to the shops that I buy them at in the description of the video, so you can check there. Okay, so I've already painted and sanded my white circle. This one happens to be an 8-inch circle. So we are going to peel off the transfer tape. Please excuse my children in the background. There's never a good time to do these except for in the middle of the night. So very carefully I am going to put this down, and I do make it a little bit bigger, the circle. I make a 9-inch circle in Design Space. Even though it's not a 9-inch circle, it just kind of gives me, I don't know, a satisfying stripe, I guess. And if you don't know how to make the stripes on the circle, let me know and I can probably make another tutorial on how to do that in Design Space. Okay, so that should be good and ready. Now I can take it off. You just have to carefully take it off. This is the transfer tape that I prefer. I know some people prefer contact paper. That wasn't my choice. Okay, so there is that. Okay, so just kind of make sure that the stencil film is secure, and then take your polyacrylic, which is this, and this is what I use, a very thin layer of, to seal my stencil down. Okay, so just a little tiny bit, very, very thin, just enough. A little tiny bit goes a really long way. So you can kind of see where Mom, it's sealing the stripes.
Mom, how's your video? Hey.
I'm sorry about my children. Okay.
Tell them how old you are.
Okay, that's enough. Okay, please.
Mom,
Okay, so there we go.
I'm gonna have my
now we're gonna let this dry, and oop, that little piece came off, so we're definitely gonna have to reseal that.
My name is Lily.
Okay.
My name is Lily.
Okay, that's Lily. That's my 5-year-old. Okay.
Mommy.
So we're gonna set this aside, and I am going to show you how I make this little greenery with the lavender. And again, I will put in my description of the video where I purchase the greenery for them. Okay, so this is the greenery I do purchase from Amazon. I do have a specific supplier that I like.
Hi guys.
Because they've always had really good luck with this one. Alright, just get all this cut. I think you get 3 like 10-foot lines inside of this bag. I'm not 100% sure because I do make grapevine wreaths with this, which I will also be making a video for because I do use them on my signs, and I use them for just door hangers in general as just a wreath. Okay, so you probably could have done this a little bit neater than I just did. I should have measured it out, but I'll use those pieces anyway. Okay, so I kind of just straighten them out a little bit so they're not super messy. And then I kind of just go like this. And then I wrap a small piece in the middle. It's wired, so it holds it together quite well. And then obviously when you secure it down onto the sign, that also makes it so it doesn't fall apart and so it stays together. Okay, so there's what it's gonna look like there. Okay, so for the lavender, I do have, they come in big like bushes. I think there's probably, I don't know, 30 maybe on each one. I do pull them off so that I have what I need when I'm doing these, because I don't ever use the whole stem or anything like that. So I have these all prepped and ready to go because like I said, I do use these on my wreaths. Okay, and it is the most realistic looking lavender that I've ever worked with that isn't actual real lavender. People are always commenting at like craft shows or just on my Facebook page how real that it looks, and it isn't real, it's fake. So okay, so there's those. I have to wait for my hot glue gun to heat up. I did not turn it on, so we're actually going to set this aside for right now, and we're going to paint the stripes on here. We are going to do that blue that was in my example at the beginning, and I also love to use Folk Art chalk paint. They had a ton of these on clearance at AC Moore for like $1, so that's why I have these tiny little bottles. But normally I buy the larger bottles. This color is called Glacier, and this is what it looks like. It's by Folk Art. Okay, so I'm going to take my brush, and this is dry now. Polyacrylic dries pretty fast. So I'm just going to carefully paint my stripes. And obviously if you get it around the edges, you can clean it up when you're all done. I do paint the edges when I'm finished. Either white or blue, depending on what look I'm going for. Okay. And I don't like put a ton of paint on because you don't want to glob it on. It will take forever to dry. Chalk paint dries fairly quickly in thin coats. So if you do like a thin coat and then you need to go over it one more time, you can do that. Okay. And I don't always just brush, I do dab it. Sometimes when I get around where the stencil film is, I don't know, just in case it seeps underneath. I know the polyacrylic's there to help against that, but sometimes a little bit will sneak. If there's a bubble or like a crease, sometimes it sneaks up under there.
Hi.
Okay, so this looks pretty good. All the way across. Okay, so now we're gonna peel wet. Carefully. Yeah, see a little tiny bit seeped there. And what I'm gonna do when it's dry is with my X-Acto knife, I'm just gonna scrape it just a little bit, not enough to damage the wood or the paint job, but enough to get that little dab of paint right off of there, and you won't even notice. So this is how I get those super clean lines. All right, so there is what we just did. Okay, So let me move this. I really love this color blue. It's just perfect for summer and spring. It's just kind of a happy color. All right, and I did choose the word home for this one instead of hello. Okay, so we're gonna set that aside again. And I don't know that my hot glue gun is not hot yet, so we're just going to pause for a minute. Okay, I guess while I'm still waiting for the hot glue gun to heat up, it is like a hot glue gun, I guess it gets super hot, and I have it on the higher setting right now, so it does take a little bit longer. But here is the white paint that I use. It's also, again, the Folk Art, because that's the one that I really like. And it is white Adirondack, that one. I know that I had gotten those ones. Every now and then Zulily has those on sale. And I think I got that for maybe $3, something like that. I do use Oramask stencil film 813. It's the blue and it comes in a roll. I do buy it in the larger size rolls, 150 feet, because I feel like if you buy it in the tighter rolls, the smaller ones, it does tend to bubble a little bit. It doesn't really affect it, at least in my opinion, when you're cutting. It's just kind of a nuisance because you kind of have to put it on the paper, but I don't like to waste any, so I do reposition it onto the paper before I cut. And then my transfer tape I also get from Amazon, and it comes in a fairly large size roll. I think I buy those either 100 feet or 50 feet. I'm not 100% sure. But again, I will put all the places that I get my supplies in my video description. All right, let's check. My hot glue gun is ready. So, okay. So the first thing that we're gonna do is just take some lavender and put it on here. So like I go from the middle like this, and typically 3 of these is good enough. You don't want to overdo it with the lavender. Okay, I need a hot glue stick. And I do purchase my hot glue sticks. They are industrial strength. I think they're made by Stanley. I will also put that in the description. You pretty much have to like use a knife and carve it out of the wood in order to get it off. It's pretty good glue. It's very strong. Okay, and my hair is in here. Okay, so I put a little glue on there, and now I'm going to just adhere it to the greenery. Oh, I burned myself so many times. I'm sure all of you can relate. All right. Again, I'm going to put another line, kind of like up it to about, I guess, halfway is as far as I go with it. So just push starting at the bottom and then gently move your way up to the top. And then you can reposition it when you get it onto the sign. I don't have any of the burlap ribbon right now. I'm completely out of it. So I'm probably just going to use regular ribbon just so you guys can see how I throw together the bow. It's very easy. All right, so here we go. And I do this a lot at night, actually in my bed when the kids are sleeping. And I don't know, every now and then I grab underneath it like I just did and burn the heck out of my finger. I swear they're immune to getting burned. All right, this guy. over there. And if you feel like there's not enough hot glue, like in the middle part, holding it down, you can put, you know, just a little bit in between each, I guess, end stem, and then just kind of push it down. Okay, so there's that. Our stripes are still wet. Okay, so for the ribbon part, I don't have the burlap ribbon, which is right here. I also purchased this from Amazon. And I'll put the link in the video description. Again, I need to pause to go get some ribbon. Okay, so I have the ribbon. I cut it to 10 inches. I think this ribbon is, well, I can actually measure it and tell you. It's 1.5 inches wide. I know the burlap that I use, I think, is 2 or 2.5. So this is going to be a little bit shorter. So basically I just pull it and adhere the bottom piece to the top piece. Let it dry without scorching your fingers. Okay, and then I put a little dab in the middle where I want it to stay. Okay, and then I just pinch it like this. So you just kind of, it's like an accordion kind of, you pinch it and then in the middle and then again. Just make sure that you do the ends facing you versus out, so that way you don't see the edges of the ribbon. And then you just dab a little glue, try not to burn yourself. Wait for that to dry because you're gonna have to do a little bit more. Yeah, on the edges. So like the pieces that didn't get glued. One there. Okay, and then one more here. Okay, so that's nice and stuck. So you have a cute little bow. And now I'm going to take a little piece of greenery, a really small piece. It's like 2 inches long. And I'm going to wrap it carefully around my ribbon. Okay. And just push it tight. So then you have a ribbon. And we're going to put the ribbon onto our greenery. I'm actually going to put the glue in the middle. And I do use a hefty amount for this portion. And then just kind of push it down. You can also do a double bow with this. I didn't want to for the sake of making the video, but if you're an awesome bow maker, you can put a double if you're using regular ribbon. The burlap just looks really great with one big thick bow, I think. Okay, and then just stick it down in there, and then the edges of your bow kind of pop up. Okay, so then for the middle part, this part, I just cut the tops of the lavender like this. I do use the rest on my wreaths and stuff, so I don't waste any of my my products. Okay. All right. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna do the exact same thing that we did before, just in a smaller fashion. Okay. So I'm going to turn this one, instead of going in, I'm going the other way towards. So I did 2 one way, and I'm going to do another one the other way too. If it doesn't look like it's complete, I'll just add another piece just to hide the middle greenery. I don't know, and it adds a little bit more flair to it. Yeah, see, if I turn it, it looks funny. So we are going to add a smaller piece. This one's cut a little bit shorter. And we're just gonna add it right there. Okay. All right, so there's the bow. And our circle is almost completely dry. Oh, I did get a little tiny bit of a bleed. If you can see it, where is it? It is right here. See that little bit? So I'm actually going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm very, very carefully just going to scrape this away. And then what I'll do is, when it's all done, I'll take a brush and dab a little bit of white in there, so that you can't even see that it was there. So it's almost gone, and now it kind of just looks like a knot coming through the wood. Which is a good thing. Okay, so that is gone. Yeah.
I have a stink bug in my bed.
Okay, can you tell Tori, please? She's in there. Okay, sorry about that again. All right, so I did pre-make all of my stencils. As you can kind of see, the swashes on the ends are longer than my sign, but I do that on purpose. Or this one actually is as long as my sign, I should say. I don't always use swashes, but sometimes I do. I just like how it looks. It's kind of like a finishing touch. The font that I use 99% of the time is called Master Blush. And it also comes with Master Blush Alt, which is a hair different, literally just a tiny little bit different. You can't really tell the difference unless you're looking at them together. And it also has the Master Blush Swash, which is how you get these, you know, these fancy ends. It's called Swash. Okay. So we are going to get our stencil here ready to go, and I do peel from the back like this. It just keeps everything on there so it peels right off. You put a little pressure on it and then pull it. Okay, so okay, sorry about that. Stink bug problems. All right, so as far as placement, it depends on like what look I'm going for. This one, since I added the swashes to it, I'm probably gonna put it in the middle to go right straight across. I know the Hello one that I did off center, so I could put the bow at an angle on the top. So this one we're gonna do, I think, on the bottom actually. So you want to get your word like in between the white stripes, so like that, and I try to line them up against the stripes. That way, I don't know, it just gives a, I don't know, I guess like a neater feel to it. Okay. So now we're gonna peel the word, and we're gonna do it like kind of the same way that we did when we peeled it off the thing. I peel it like this, and I kind of push down on the middle parts as I roll the transfer tape away, just to make sure that, you know, we're not losing any pieces and that everything stays intact. Okay, so now we are going to take our polyacrylic again and do a very light layer. I'm probably gonna adhere this just a little bit though before we go poly in anything. Okay, so take your light coat. I guess I start to dab, and then I just take a big wipe right over it. Just to make sure you get every little piece there sealed. And then you can kind of take your finger and feel where it is, because polyacrylic, I don't know, I guess it kind of feels like water. And then just kind of rub it all in. Okay, so that's nice and tight. I didn't use very much at all. And for this one, I ran out of my normal black chalk paint that I use. I did pick this up really quick at Walmart, I think. They sell the Waverly. It's not my favorite chalk paint, but it does work when you don't have, you know, any other kind that you normally use. And I prefer the folk art. I prefer the folk art over sea paints, and the chalk couture. I have used all of them, and I always go back to folk art. So I don't know, I just prefer that paint. I know other people have their paint preferences. All right, so this is dry. Dries super fast. So we're gonna take our black paint and we're gonna dab it on at first, just so we don't leak it, hopefully. Watch this be the one time that I do. Alright, so now we can brush a little bit there. I'm really sorry about my 8-year-old crying in the background. She's having a rough day. Okay. So we're just gonna keep going with the black. Now, I feel like chalk paint dries faster than acrylic paint. So you don't want to be super. Okay, so now that I've dabbed over the whole thing, I'm just going to take my brush and just brush it a little bit, real gentle, to make sure that all the little white spots are covered. Okay, so you don't need a very thick coat of whatever color that you're placing on top. So now we are going to very carefully peel the stencil back. Just nice and slow. I'd like to do it wet. I feel like you have less of a chance of making a mistake. Or like that, if it drags. So now I'm gonna have to clean up that little spot, but that's okay. Okay, so like I said, chalk paint dries really quick. It's pretty much dry on the end there, but now I'm gonna have to wait for this little section to dry because I made a boo-boo, but that's okay. Now for the middle portions, I do wait until it is dry to pull those out, because I feel like you have a chance of messing it up when it's like that. So what we'll do is, while we're waiting for that to dry, is figure out where this lavender and bow is going to go. Little pieces of glue, you just want to kind of pull those off. Okay, so I think for this one I'm going to put it right in the middle, because I'm probably going to use jute rope to hang this one, and there's already drilled holes in this one. Yep, so I'm going to put this one right in the middle. So you be generous with your hot glue, and then push down, and it's nice and centered, and you just want to hold it down until it doesn't, like when you let up, it doesn't pop up again, just so it's nice and adhered to the wood. And hopefully by then this little area of black will be dry and I can touch it up. So it's drying fairly fast. And then when you're done, like when you got it on here, you can kind of see where you might need to fluff up the lavender, or, you know, move one of the pieces of greenery over just to make it look a little bit more natural, or however you want it to be placed there. Okay, so now I'm going to fix my blemish that I did. And with chalk paint, it kind of leaves like a powdery residue when you're cleaning up a spot. So I just scrape as much as I can, and then I take a little blow on there. You can actually rub your finger on there too. And then it looks kind of natural because it looks like one of the spots, like a streak where I painted. And sometimes if I'm looking for a more rustic look when it's all together, I will very, very, very lightly sand over it, and it kind of opens up some of the white and it makes it look, I don't know, I think rustic. That's what it looks like to me anyway. Okay, that is fixed. Okay. All right, so it looks like it's dry. So now we can pull up our inside, like the inside of the H. You just want to very carefully stick your knife underneath and pull off. So we got the H, and we're gonna need to do the O. And with the O, I think there's two parts. Okay. I always try to have a sharp X-Acto knife. This is my tool that I use all the time for weeding. I can't weed with normal weeding tools. Okay, and one more tiny little piece. We need to see where that is. All right, so there it is. Home. It's hard to see with the video, but that is the completed piece. I will spray a light coat of clear acrylic. I think it's called, I'm not actually 100% sure what it's called. I'd have to find the can because it's not out here right now. But it is a clear coat that is a spray, because if you put a sealer over chalk paint, it will smear even if it's dry. So I do seal with a very light spray, and then I put the polyacrylic over that. And I use matte finish for everything. Nothing is glossy, everything is matte. So there it is, your Hello Circle tutorial. I will be making another one for the home is where my mom or where mom is on here. I'll show you of this one with the felt flowers. I do love my felt flowers, so I will do another one if you guys want to see it. So thank you for making me do this tutorial. I hope it really helps all of you guys. Obviously, if you have any questions, you can either ask me on Facebook or you can, I think, put it in the comments underneath the video. Okay, thanks. Bye.